What's up, guys? Matt the Greeter. What's up, dude? Well, I'm hoping that bug didn't fly up my sleeve. Of all the places in the world to land, he landed by me. What a blessing. I don't know what that bug was. If you know what it was, leave it in the comments. He was acting like a wasp. He kind of didn't really fit the profile, you know what I mean? So I think somebody dared him. Go land on that bike. You land on the bug smasher when it's not moving. That's real brave. Try landing on me when I'm going 75 miles an hour. Then you will have my respect. Insect kingdom. Anyway, guys, how you doing today? Notice those leaves, they're popping and popping and popping. Alright, here's an interesting intersection, which sometimes at that intersection they assume you have stop signs too, if they're not from around here. And there's actually a couple of intersections along the way that there are four-way stops. That one's not one of them. So if you're accustomed to all the other intersections and you're unaccustomed to that one, you might assume it also has four-way stops, and you would have an unpleasant day. So speaking of unpleasant days, yeah, you know what? That FedEx truck couldn't pull in because they put the crosswalk and the crosswalk sign in such a position that you can't possibly make the turn in anything bigger than an Escalade. I can't make the turn in an Escalade because I can't afford an Escalade. So it really solves that problem. It's a privilege to be lower middle class, but blessed. All right, let's see what we're doing here. Everybody good? Hey, you know, just because they have gray hair doesn't mean they're not paying attention. My grandfather was an excellent, well, all right, maybe that's not the best example. That's all. Maybe we should change the subject. Actually, I'll stick with the subject because it's going to pertain to me just down the road. So my grandfather was a fine driver, and then one day, as he aged, he was not a fine driver. Look at the color of that car. That's super nice. Fast forward a decade beyond that, and he was a terrible driver. He was an exceptional man, but a terrible driver. And it happened, in his mind, I think, seemingly overnight. Well, my father, whom I love dearly, hi Dad, one day confessed, you know, if I don't have to drive another day of my life, I'm fine with that. And you know what? The rest of the family maybe was fine with that too. But the reason I bring it up is because my father and my grandfather, that's me, right? Oh, there's very possibly coming a day where I'm not going to be the driver or the rider I once was. And I know it's early to think about that. I mean, listen, I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, so this could all be a moot conversation, right? And but let's say I make it that far. There might come a time when I have to hang the helmet up. You know, maybe I have to turn the keys in. One thing I liked about the way it happened for my grandfather is it came with a little bit of grace, at least where I was concerned. He graciously allowed me to drive him around, which was a privilege. I'm not being sarcastic or, what's that word, snarky? I'm not being that. It was a privilege to drive my grandfather around when I had the opportunity. So it came with a grace, but the family I'm going to say let him keep the car. Yeah, I mean, he was a grown man and in full control of his faculties, so like there was no like, you know, but he kept his car. He had a little wagon. It was like a Ford Escort wagon, so he could still putter around the car. He had that sense of look, there was a jailbreak opportunity if he needed it. He had the car, he had the keys, the car ran. He didn't drive it, but he kept it, and he'd putter around in the back end, maybe move some lumber in and out of it or do whatever, and that was cool. Worked for him, worked for us as well. I gotta be careful, that's where I scrape my pegs. There's a rise in elevation, which is, it doesn't come across on the GoPro, but when you lean into that turn with, you know, especially with an older Harley Davidson, not a lot of ground clearance, you definitely will fold your peg up on your foot, which is, it's kind of like sticking a fork in the toaster, right? You become suddenly aware that something is not as it once was. So anyhow, so the reason I say this, my dad still drives. He's a more than competent driver. So it's you know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking further down the road. You know, and will I have the grace to turn in the keys? How you doing, buddy? What's up? Or am I going to be stubborn and drive when I really shouldn't be driving? Because we do encounter quite a bit of that. Fortunately for us here in New England, we tend to send our elderly folks down to Florida. Hey, Tampa, talking to you guys. You're welcome. All that wisdom we're sending your way. But no, you know, there are a lot. I mean, we encounter them every day. There's a ton of traffic here in the Boston area, and there's a lot of people driving. You drive here more than a couple of weeks, and you'll see people, you're like, I can't take the keys away. You can't be driving. Like, if it was the wide open country and you want to do 30 in a 45, you know, like on the yellow line, or whacking mailboxes as you go get your morning cup of coffee with your buddies, you know, if you're in the country, that's fine. But around here, man, it is not only disrespectful, but it is ridiculously dangerous. Some of the people that are still driving. So I am not there yet, but I could be one of those people who refuses to give it up. And because, man, it's your independence. How are you going to give up your keys? And you know you can make it where you're trying to go. And if the world is moving too fast, it just is. So why can't I still drive? You know what I mean? So I don't know why I'm even thinking about that today, but I feel like you should still be able to drive, but there is a time where it's just not safe, and that really stinks, you know. So I try to show a little grace to old folks when I realize they're a zillion years old, because I think about my own independence. And oh, it's not a given. It's certainly not a given, certainly not a guarantee. So anyhow, that's all I got for you today. I also know some pretty old people that still drive. You know what I'm saying? So like that drive very well. You know, I got a couple of buddies who ride motorcycles still, and they're quite advanced in years, but they're excellent riders. So, you know, just getting older is a privilege, but it's not a I almost said it's not a death sentence. It is for every single one of us. That's not what I mean, it's not necessarily doom and gloom getting older, because I do know some older people who have gotten old very, very gracefully, graciously, and are an absolute joy to be around. And frankly, some of these old people are younger than some of the 30-year-olds I know. You know what I mean? Anyhow, Matt the Greeter. Well, I'm still talking to you. Why? Sorry, guys. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. I care about you. Thanks for checking in today. I'm looking forward to tonight. I think I get to put my base on my back and do a little night ride. So, hey, look for that video in the future, hopefully. In the meantime, be good to each other, and I'll check in with you soon. All right, bye.